Welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We do, but it's been programmed into us. But what if we flip the whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, our minds, our finances, our relationships, and our lives. Let's jump right in. You will notice that Annie's not here, but I have Kristy with us. Hey, Kristy.
Hey, Minna. I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. We're going to have fun, just the girls.
Hey. So how you been, Kristy? Have you done all your Christmas shopping?
Yes, actually. Yes.
Awesome.
I have the extent of my Christmas lights are a string of lights wrapped around a big 3-foot high giraffe that my mom has in the house.
That is so cute. So let's talk about gifting. What's your ideas on gifting?
Well, I'm kind of different ideas about that. I'm sort of against this whole commercialism of Christmas, the holidays, all that. I buy, and spend, and who cares if you go into debt? Worry about it later, and run up your credit card, and then you're all stressed out. And to me, that just defeats the purpose of December. So I'm kind of big on more of experiences rather than physical gifts.
Oh, okay. What kind of experiences?
Well, like travel, and with kids, of course, there has to be something for them to open under their, you have to do stuff with kids, but that doesn't mean you have to spend thousands of dollars. The gifts can be very meaningful and travel, as far as I'm concerned, travel with kids is the best gift you could ever give them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the kids, they always ask for like the latest toys, the electronics. So how do you get them to not want those things?
I don't think that's possible. If they watch TV at all, or they talk to their friends at school, they're going to know about the video games, and everything else. But I think if parents just strive for balance, if they just because it's Christmas or the holiday season, all the different cultures that do gifts, not just for Christmas, but for every holiday. They don't have to have the biggest, best, and brightest of everything all at once. I think that makes them very materialistic and very wanting more all the time, rather than feeling that, we talk a lot about gratitude at Thanksgiving, but what about Christmas?
That's
So,
true.
yeah. And so experiences above gifts. And then the other thing is, letting kids participate helps them learn the value of money. What if you give them, I don't know, $20 each, and that's for them to speaking more from the mom perspective. Mm-hmm. We're going to get a present for your dad, and here's $20, and they have to kind of can work it into a little bit of a money lesson, so that they grow an understanding of the value of money rather than just having everything handed to them.
How do you feel about the gifting of like time?
Big screaming yes. I would rather go to say if my family was at your house for Christmas dinner. Mm-hmm. I would rather spend the time with you and enjoy that and enjoy the conversation, rather than buying you something that's just going to go up on a shelf that you have to dust. And that would, to me, maybe my age is showing. Now that's age. Yeah, but if you had children, especially if they were young, I would bring them presents. But it doesn't mean it has to be anything big or extravagant. I don't have to spend $500 for a kid that's probably going to just play the box anyway. And And also, if I am going to spend the money on something, I'm going to make sure it's something that the child really wants and will really love. So getting a child, like getting a little girl a doll when she doesn't really like dolls is silly. It's kind of forcing something on her. You're spending money that's just wasted when you could, maybe she prefers stuffed animals.
Mm-hmm.
You could find something really cute, like a little panda or something, and she would love that and carry it around. And so it's the heart-centered. I look for heart-centered. How about you? What do you feel about that?
I don't have a whole lot of people that I need to shop for. And between me and Annie, we really don't do Christmas gifts anymore. We get things when we need the things, right? We don't wait until Christmas to get whatever it is that we think we need. And unless it's something that's not affordable, in which case we're not buying it anyway. We're not getting a private jet, right? And sometimes we do like experiences. We go out to have a nice meal.
Mm-hmm.
We travel. So we start focusing on the experiences and the memories more so than the gift of a thing.
I totally agree. And look at how that has enriched your life. Rather than just working and slaving 50 weeks of the year for a 2-week vacation, or some day in the future when you can retire and then enjoy your life, you're enjoying it now.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. Yeah, and then, and it's, when between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we usually focus a lot on getting new skills, I guess. So we sign up for new courses, we learn new things. So I think it's like a gift of skill sets, like more skills, more learning that you can do in the future. So something that would benefit your future, I guess.
And now let's think about that for kids. Maybe not little kids, but older kids. How cool would it be if, say, you have a child that is kind of addicted to video games, but when you talk with that child, they tell you they're really, really interested in, say, something like martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
What if the Christmas gift is martial arts lessons of their choice, the art of their choice? Right. And then they're out, they're getting physical exercise, they're interacting with other people, they're doing something real. And yes, they're still going to play video games. Let's just not pretend that doesn't happen. But
yeah, it could be just a book. There's a lot of stories about how the book can change a person's life. The right book makes all the difference.
Yes. I have to say, one of the things that I've loved the most is working with kids who want to write books.
Oh.
They are so much fun, and they're so creative, and they're brimming with ideas. And
so how do you get them to? How did they learn the skill to write a book?
It all starts with narrative structure. If we're assuming fiction here because most kids aren't really interested in writing nonfiction. They want to write stories. And once they've got a handle on that narrative structure, it's like knowing the blueprint. So you can build with a blueprint, you can build a house any way you want to. It's a framework. Okay. And within that framework, you can do whatever you want. You could build a science fiction space house, or you could build a horror house, or but the way the story is told, when it's told that way, you're ensuring that the story is told well, and then the kids can grow and have, instead of people going, oh no, the kid's got another story that I have to read. It's, oh, you got another story, I can't wait to read it. Think of what a boost that is for a kid.
For sure. Remember, we actually interviewed a kid that wrote a book, remember?
Yes, she was cool. Yeah. That's right. So it's experience above stuff. And if you are doing stuff, especially if you have kids, because I'm sorry, unwrapping presents on Christmas is fun.
It's satisfying.
But make them memorable, make them valuable, make them personal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. So, Kristy, we're going to take a break, And when we come back, we're going to have biohack, and then we'll bring on our special guest of today.
Yay.
An empowered life has no expiration date. We're all created to do incredible things, like conquer summits, catch big waves, and live our passions. As time goes on, our bodies begin to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Our energy levels decline, sleep patterns shift, and recovery slows. But our bodies are masterpieces of design, holding the potential to bounce back better than ever. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and regenerative science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHK-Cu, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, which requires external light sources, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality, enhancing the body's flow of natural energy. For improvements in strength, stamina, performance, and overall health and well-being, with the simplicity of an affordable, non-invasive, non-transdermal patch. As we age, levels of these life-enhancing elements, which are associated with wellness and longevity, begin to decline. LifeWave invested 10 years into stem cell research, which resulted in over 70 patents. X39 was born to bring to the public a product that could support wellness in an entirely new way, supporting the production of younger, healthier cells with wearable light technology. Becoming a powerhouse is easier than you think. Harness your body's natural potential to maintain youthful energy and vitality, because life comes at you fast, but it doesn't have to pass you by. Live long, live well, live young. Be the light with LifeWave X39. LifeWave.
Welcome to Chronically Healthy Life. So in our biohacking segment this week, I'm going to show you how to make a different type of lemonade. So I call this the Egyptian lemonade with mint, and that's because I learned this from an Egyptian herbal lady. And according to her, this is pretty much the same way that the Mediterraneans used to make lemonade, which is a little bit different from how the North Americans make it. So what I have here is, what you need is a blender, a high-speed blender with a cup. And what I have here is 4 small lemons. So what I do is, these are organic lemons for sure. It is really important for it to be organic because we are actually also using the rind, not just the juice. So I have 4 small lemons, and I cut off the ends, and then I cut them into little chunks, remove the seeds. So this is about 4 small lemons. And I have 1 cup of organic mint leaves. And just as leaves, so take them off the stems. And for liquid, I have 2 cups of coconut milk, which is funkier. You can also use water, which is fine. And I also have 1 cup of ice and a half cup of honey. And you can use a different sweetener if you like. I just like the taste of honey. So all you need to do is put all this into the blender. And it's as simple as blending it together. And you don't need to blend it that long, just assume it's mixed up. It's fine. So you want to strain it because it's going to be quite pulpy. So run it through a strainer and into a bowl or a cup. Okay, I will do that later, but I just want to see how it tastes. This is actually very refreshing. So the lemon with the coconut milk actually works really well, and it would be a good party drink if you're going to parties this Christmas holiday. Try this out. So this is really easy, and it's delicious. So give it a try. Again, this is some biohack for the week, and this is Chronically Healthy Life. See you next week.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. I'm Kristy Boyd Johnson, and today with us, we have the amazing Daniel Aaron. He is a vibrant life coach, inspirational best-selling author, and transformational entertainer. Ooh. He hosts the Art of Vibrant Living show and is founder of the Your Masterpiece Life Training. He empowers clients to create freedom, love, and power. Drawing from 29 years of impactful coaching and teaching and his own profound spiritual awakening, Daniel's unique approach unlocks the supreme potential within, guiding people to embody their most vibrant selves, as well as exponentially increased income, influence, and impact. He's here with us today to share some manifestation magic and help us unlock our own most vibrant lives. Welcome, Daniel.
Kristy, thank you. What a kind introduction. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you.
Well, we are thrilled that you're here. I am very, very interested in manifestation magic. I think everybody is. How did you get started on such a path?
Yeah, well, I'll give you the super brief version. I grew up fat, shy, depressed, from a super dysfunctional family, and yet somehow, as a kid, I just had this thought: there must be more to life than this. Right? I didn't do anything with that thought because just getting through childhood was a big deal. However, I made it. I got to the other side. And then in my mid-20s, everything changed for me when I experienced what you could call a divine 2x4 whacking me upside the head. And that was God, which is not a word I could have used then, but God reaching down, grabbing me by the hair and saying, there's a lot more to the world than you've been seeing. And it was beautiful. It was amazing. It was awesome. I tasted a bliss I never knew was possible. But it was also really hard because I didn't understand it. I didn't know how to communicate about it. I didn't know how to live what I'd tasted. And then my own life was blown up in the meantime. So when my feet finally came back down to the ground, I realized I need a new education. I need a new way of being in the world. And thus began my obsession with personal and spiritual development.
Well, I have to say, you are not alone. I think everyone I know, including myself, who's had any kind of spiritual awakening, it completely shatters the life you had. Start again. So good for you for finding the strength to make that happen. That's amazing. So what are some of I heard you say you have key truths of being. I'm really interested in what are the 3 truths of being that we could all
Yeah, I mean, real simple, and the first one is obvious, and that is we are always being, right? There's no as human beings, we are always being, right? So that's one.
Mhm.
Number two, though, not so well known, and part of what separates us from a lot of other beings, human beings different than non-human animals. Number two is that we have the ability to observe who we are being. So in any given moment, we can pause and say, "Hey, who am I being right now?" And we might say, "Well, I'm being generous, or I'm being afraid, or
Mhm.
I'm being loving, or I'm being hesitant, or whatever it is." We have this power to stop and notice, who am I being? And then the third, in many ways, most important of these three keys is that we can change who we be. We can change who we are, right? And so many people believe that who we are is something that's fixed, that's just the way it is, right? And so who we are is very fluid if we realize these truths and then actually do what's required to create the being that we choose to be.
I love that. I think the problem that I see is that some people believe they can't change, but then there's other people that won't change. They just are like, this is how I am. And this arrogant kind of attitude about it, like take it or leave it. that gets frustrating to deal with. So how do we, when we're choosing, okay, well, right now I'm angry at that person who's in my face, but I can choose to be something different with that. I can choose to walk away and keep my peace, right? Or what else can we do, especially if there's someone that is like in our family or something that we have to deal with? How can we choose to be different?
Well, I mean, a couple different things I can say to that. One is we have the capacity to create ourselves, right?
Mhm.
So one example of that for me is I have not always been a patient person, right? You could say I've been an impatient person, and I realized at a certain point that that's causing me pain, frustration, difficulty in my life, in my business, in my relationships. So I would prefer to be patient. I would prefer to be understanding with people. So I have a process and a practice, and on a daily basis, I cultivate and activate myself as somebody who is patient and understanding. Right.
Mm.
So, as an example, to make it more clear, so I use declarations every day. I have a manifesto of who I really am at my highest self, and I speak out declarations, right? One of them is that I am prodigious patience, right?
Mm.
Unconditional love and prodigious patience, right? So when I speak that out loud, I am conditioning it, activating it, cultivating it inside myself. And so sometimes when I have a moment where I'm not feeling patient, it's like it kicks in and I remember that and I become more patient, right?
Mhm.
At other times, I don't and I get impatient or I'm not understanding or I'm not loving, right? Because that's part of my journey as well. And so then the next day, when I speak out loud, I am unconditional love and prodigious patience. Immediately, I flash on that moment yesterday when I wasn't, right? And
Yeah.
that gives me material understanding so that I can grow and learn and evolve from that to become who I choose to be.
Oh, I like that. Like perhaps you can examine that now that you've got a day away and say, why did that, the big word buzzword now is trigger. Why did that trigger me? Why did that, and how, and then that's the healing, right? Because it's not their behavior, it's your response to it. That's important.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not only can we then reflect on it and learn from it. And in doing so, the next opportunity, we've got a much better chance of being how we wish to be.
I like that. I wonder what would happen if every moment, if we were, we're human, so at least we attempt for every moment to think that way, to think, wait, in this moment, I really like that. I feel happy right now, or I really don't want to feel angry right now. So what could we do? How could you breathe through that moment and shift it? Like, I don't want to be angry right now. I want to be peaceful. Like, how can we move through that then? Or do you have some steps or some suggestions?
Well, it's there's no, I don't know of a hack, right? Like a hack to do that. There are lots of, actually I do know of hacks, but they're all not so dynamically and long-term useful, right? So yeah, there's certain things we can do and people know it, like, oh, let me take 3 breaths. Okay, I'll take 3 breaths, right? However, and that can be useful. And we can also set up what's called implementation intention, which is, so-and-so tends to trigger me. So here's what I'm going to do. When I've got a moment to feel into and think about this, so-and-so triggers me. So here's what I'm going to do. Next time, if so-and-so triggers me, I'm going to take 3 deep breaths, or I'm going to pull my shoulders up and then pull them down so I relax, or I'm going to ask them what's going on for them, right? I can set up some things. It's the same strategy that an alcoholic might use, right? When one of the triggers for an alcoholic is when they are hungry or angry or tired. So they can set up a system for themselves that, okay, if I'm hungry and I feel like I want to drink, well, then instead I'm going to call a friend, or I'm going to carry some nuts around with me and I'm going to eat some trail mix.
Oh yeah, it's so clear and it's so simple, but people don't ever think about stuff like that.
Well, that's
amazing.
The thing, so sorry, may I interject for a moment?
Yes.
Right. So when I say there are hacks that we can do, they're only as good as our ability to stop and think about it, to pause, right? And a lot of the time we don't have that capacity in the moment. That's why the much more sustainable and much deeper way of creating a different occurrence, a different situation, a different way of reacting is to change who we are over time, right? So, as an example, Jesus, right? And whether anybody's Christian or Buddhist or atheist or whatever, probably everybody can agree, or most people can agree, that was one dude who was very loving, right? Who he be is loving. So if somebody comes up to him and says, hey, blah, 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 he doesn't have to go, okay, let me take a few breaths. Because he's loving, his response is loving, right? So if we cultivate ourselves to be who we wish, then what we say and what we do will naturally follow suit from that, just like an apple seed is going to create an apple tree.
Yes. And we are free because we are aware to decide, like you did. You decided that you were going to choose to be patient. And you made that a part of your being. I love that. That's so empowering. It's like you can be anything you want to be. So choose wisely. I love that. So I think I'm going to take this moment to take a little break. We have a little break coming up, and then when we come back, I want to talk about some more of your points and some of the other good stuff you've got in your lineup. So Stay tuned, everyone.
Imagine a life where every day is fueled by energy, vitality, and purpose. Where age is just a number and your best years are always ahead. Hi, I'm Andy Nam, certified functional nutrition longevity coach, best-selling author, and international speaker. After reversing my own chronic health struggles, I'm now on a mission to help you live longer, stronger, and of course, to look younger. I combine biohacking, cutting-edge nutrition, and stem cell technology to unlock your body's full potential. So no matter where your starting point is, I'm going to guide you toward a chronically healthy life. Ready to reverse aging and take control of your future? Connect with me today. Your journey to longevity starts here.
Hello, we are Mutts and Meows Rescue, a 501c3 nonprofit, foster-based, no-kill group. Mutts and Meows Rescue pulls dogs and cats from surrounding shelters in the greater Houston area. We even pick up dogs and cats abandoned on the streets. Mutts and Meows Rescue is foster-based and rely on your donations to keep rescuing. To know more about us is to know more about our furry friends and help them find their forever homes. Come visit us at Mutts and Meows Rescue on Facebook today and decide how you can make a difference.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. We're here with our guest, Daniel Aaron, and who author and vibrant life coach. So, Daniel, I want to talk about your idea of the river of causality. Can you tell us what that is? That is really intriguing.
I would love to, because it's in my 29 years of obsession with personal and spiritual development, and from my own experimentation on myself and my work with clients and students, it is the distillation most important aspect I know of how we create reality and how we manifest in the world. And it's actually very simple. And when I speak it, part of you is probably going to say, oh, yeah, I understand that. So what I invite you is to hear it for the first time and hear it from a different perspective, because when you put these pieces together, it really unlocks a power that is phenomenal. Yeah? So everybody wants results, right? Everybody wants results. Some people want a new car. Some people want to be healthy, transform their relationship. Somebody wants a new house. Everybody wants results, right? So in this river of causality model, what is it that always must come before results? In this world we live in, what must and always does precede results?
Well, a decision and then action.
Okay, good. Yes. So action is the answer, because a decision doesn't necessarily mean anything. I remember years ago, many times deciding I'm not going to eat ice cream tonight. Right. So the action is the actual thing that precedes results always. And this is, there are other possibilities. Maybe people can manifest without action. However, in the world we live in, for most of us with this model, results are preceded by action. And then since we are wise, we say, okay, what precedes action? If we go upriver from there, what comes before action? What determines, do we act or not act? What determines, if we do act, whether it's effective action or not, right? That is thoughts, feelings, and together you could call that a state of being, a state. So the state we are in determines what we see. It also determines whether we act or don't act. I'll give you an example. My friend Frank, single guy, walking down the street, he sees a woman to whom he's attracted, right? What determines whether he goes up to her and says, "Hi, I'm Frank, who are you?" Or if he just walks right by, right? On some level, that's got to be, what thoughts does he have? Are the thoughts, "Oh, she's out of my league"? Or are the thoughts, "Hey, maybe we would get along," right? Those thoughts determine whether he acts or not. And they can also determine, even if he does act, whether the act is effective, right? Because he might think, oh, she's totally out of my league. However, I know I have to act anyway. I'm going to push right through that. And he goes up to her, and what does he say? Hi, you wouldn't want to go out with me, would you? Right? So let's check it out. The review here. We got everybody wants results. They are preceded by action, only always. Prior to that is our thoughts and our feelings. That determines whether we act or not and how well we act. And here's where it gets really powerful and connects to what we were talking about before, is prior to that, right? Now we get to the source of the river. What is it that determines what we think and how we feel, right? And that is who we are, who we be. And you could call that our identity, or if you want to go new agey, you could call it our vibration, right? And everybody has an identity. Everybody has a who they are, a way of being. And if we actually, did an autopsy, we would find a printed document inside that is a set of declarations about who we are. No, we wouldn't. Find a printed document. However, we all have the possibility to actually consciously create who we are. But here's the thing. Last thing I'll say on this for the moment. Everybody has this already, right? You have it. I have it. People around us have it. And we know because we hear people say things like, I am successful. I am poor. I am grumpy. I am a klutz, right? And when we say I am, that the compilation of those statements, that's who we are. And sure as it always works, who we are determines what we think, what we feel, what we say, what we do, and the results we get.
And that is why so many people think they can't manifest what they dream of, because they're not going back to the source to shift things and then shift the things that come down after that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's amazing. I like that, because manifestation is a big deal. And manifestation comes, action does, if you're going to, it does. If you're going to build a snowman, sitting in your house watching a movie isn't going to get that snowman built. You have to go outside and get in the snow. I like that. Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah. So you said the word manifesto earlier.
Yeah.
Do you have a way that we can create our own manifestos for ourselves that, like?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. Right. And the first thing to create a manifesto is to become aware of the manifesto we're living now. Right. And the way we do that is notice what we say. I am successful. I am weak. I am tall. I am fat. I am short. Whatever we say, that is, and especially to become aware of the manifesto we have now, which is not working out well for us. Right. Or another way of saying that is to become aware of the judgments we have about ourselves, the mean things we think and say about ourselves. Call it self-recrimination or judgment. Everybody has that to some degree, right? And that's part of why a lot of people try to use affirmations, but not only do they not work a lot of the time, they often make things worse, right? Because somebody says, right, I am rich, but then another part of them, a little voice goes, nah, you are not, right? They say, I am sexy. And then another part of them goes, come on, dude, you're 200 pounds overweight, right? So it doesn't work. It's what my mentor calls putting frosting on poop.
Yeah.
So we've got no chance to create our manifesto until we become aware of the manifesto we're living now, the negative parts, the judgments, and then there's a process that we can all do to heal and forgive and let go of those negative self-judgments. It's kind of like, well, in the frosting on poop, that's cleaning up the poop. Or you could say you can't build a castle, the manifesto of who you really want to be, if the foundation is quicksand. So becoming aware of the negative self-judgments and healing and integrating and forgiving, that's the first step.
And then the second step is making a clear choice to move in that direction. So it would be better, instead of saying, if you're poor and you want to be rich, instead of saying, I am rich, it would be easier and less aggravating to that little voice going, what are you, crazy? You can't even pay your bills. To say, I am in the process of getting rich. I am learning to generate wealth, or something like that, where it's more like you're allowing yourself to be in process.
Well, certainly that's an upgrade. I'm with you on that. And just like, I don't know, eating a burger is going to be healthier than eating mud, but neither one is necessarily really healthy, right? So I would say a deeper actual solution rather than a Band-Aid to it is to take care of that voice that says, I suck, or I can't even pay my bills, or right. And that is to allow that voice to say what it wants to say. I call that giving the mouse the mic. Right? Because we all have this little mouse in the corner. We say, I am rich, I am wealthy, I am great, I'm wonderful. And then the little voice, it's like a mouse in the corner that goes, nah, you are not. You can barely pay your bills. Right? But what we've learned, a lot of us, is to then say, shut up. Right? I'm not listening to you. Right? We take our shoe and we throw it. Get out of here. But like anything that we deny, it gets stronger. Right? So when I work with clients and in my online course, this is the first full week of what we do, and I call it Hell Week. Right? Doesn't that sound fun? But I also call it Liberation Week. And so what we do, and I've done this myself, we quite literally say, okay, I get it. I see how this works. So now I'm going to allow everything that comes up to come up. All the negative voices, all the little mouse voices, all the judgments, and I'm going to make a big inventory. I suck. I'm lazy. I'm weak. I'm selfish. And they might come up over and over. I've had clients with 25 pages of this, right? And that's not fun, Kristy. It's like, that's hellish. It's hard to become aware of all the mean stuff we say about ourselves. However, it also contains the possibility of liberating ourselves from it, which gives us a solid foundation, which allows us to create anything and everything that we really want in the world.
I like that. It's like the path out of hell. But you have to go through it to get out of it.
The only way out is through.
I say that all the time. That's right. It's true. It's real. I love that, because then you're honoring, and I've heard it said, and I think this is true for everyone, we are meaner to ourselves than we are, with a few exceptions. There are some people out there, but most of the time we're much harder on ourselves. Like, how many of us, if someone makes a mistake, we let them off the hook. Oh, you didn't know, blah, blah, but ourselves, we're like, I should have known. I shouldn't have done that. And just beat ourselves up over. Yeah, that is hell. That is hell. I really like that. That makes sense to me. So then through this process, how can we kind of make that part of our daily life so that because I think with practice, things get easier. Just like if you're learning a skill, you learn to drive, you didn't know how, but then it got easier and then it becomes normal and natural.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's take it back for a second to the river of causality, right? Because everybody wants results. Before results are action, as you pointed out. All the way up here is the source of the river, right? It's who we are. And so, we can spend a lot of time cleaning up a river down here, but if it's polluted at the source, doesn't matter what we do down here, it's going to be dirty again in a moment. right? So the lesson from this is that the highest leverage, the biggest bang for our buck, if we want to create different results, is go to the source and change who we are, right? If we do that, like there's a saying that a bitter fountain cannot produce pure water, right? So in the same way, we change who we are. And what that looks like on a daily basis, in simplest terms, what I call it is self-creation. So every day, what I do and what my clients do is we start the day with consciously creating who we are, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of detail we could say about how that works, but it's like saying every day I'm going to prioritize going to the source of the river, and doing that over time. Pretty soon it's our supreme self or our highest self who becomes the one that is the default, the one that we're living, rather than this old other fearful crazy part.
So for you, that helped you create a much more vibrant life of love and patience, and you've noticed a big change, and now you help other people create that change for themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. Well, Daniel, I'm enjoying this conversation so much, but how can our audience find you, reach out to you?
Pretty easy. One would be my website, danielaaron.com, DanielAaron.com. And I'm on most of the social media things. You can find me there as well. So yeah, it's easy.
Good. And we have a QR code up there that I understand you wrote a book. Tell us about your book. The QR code goes to your book.
Oh, right. Yeah. So that leads to this book, which is called The Art of Spiritual Leadership, 40 Laws to Transform Your Life and the World. And it's, in simplest terms, it's stories, right? Stories about some people that you would know that are phenomenal people, but some stories about people that we don't know, but people who have applied these lessons and these principles and created transformation in their life.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's so inspiring. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. I so appreciate you being on the show today.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for giving me the space to share. And thank you for the great work that y'all are doing.
Oh, thank you. All right, everybody. Coming up next is Kids Corner. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Kristy Boyd Johnson. And if you are ready to change your child's education out of this model and into this model, then I'm right there with you. Give me a call or email me and let's chat and let's do this together, because when we team up, we're unstoppable. Barefoot Learning Club, foundation plus imagination equals genius. Everybody, welcome to Kids Corner. So I had a mom say to me the other day, I don't understand how my kids got to be so materialistic. We went on to ask, why do you think that? Because she had taken a look at her kids' Christmas wish list, and she said their Amazon wish list was pages and pages long. And the worst part is, she told me she felt that her kids expected to receive every single item on that list. Okay, that's a little appalling, actually. We're so programmed to buy many gifts, to overspend, to go in debt. And that's just silly. The materialism, nobody remembers it. Do you remember really any real Christmas gifts you got? Or do you remember things like the time you spent, the activities, the connection that you felt with people that you love? So I was thinking that one of the really great ways that we can start teaching our kids to be less focused on materialism and more focused on that connection is by volunteering. Get that idea out of your head that volunteering means you have to dedicate 20 hours a week or something. That's not true. It could be as simple as a 1 hour trip to an animal shelter I read this really cool article about programs where the kids read books to the animals in the shelter. They also have things like they let the kids walk the dogs or take them out into the play area. And there's a connection there, and it's a really fun and joyful way. Can you tell I'm an animal lover? That's what I immediately think of is volunteering for animal shelters. It's a really great way to connect and build a sense of like giving back and having that connection and spreading a love energy rather than just give me presents, give me more video games, leave me alone while I play video games mindlessly for my whole school break, or whatever you may be dealing with. And if your kids are very young, of course you have to be a little more careful with that. But if your kids are older, could be a great way. And a special tip, let them pick where they want to volunteer. That's a way to start thinking about giving back for the holidays in a way that's very natural and organic and helps everybody involved. I hope everybody's happy this month and prosperous, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Hey, Minna.
I've never read to my cats.
You know, if I'm not home, I leave music on for my cats.
I do too, but I never read a book to, Wolfie or any of those kids.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, the kids, first of all, they're reading. And second of all, they're reading and then they get to have their own personal dog. That's their dog that they read to, and then they build a bond and then they can take them outside and stuff like that. I thought that was so cool.
Oh, that's awesome. What do you think of Daniel's interview today?
Oh, isn't he amazing?
Yes. He reminds me of how there's a cartoon that has an angel on one side and the devil talking at the same time. That image comes to mind for some reason.
Yeah, because we all have that, don't we?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I can't. People are like, I want to write a book. You can't write a book. What's wrong with you? You can write a book. You know a lot about this topic.
Definitely.
Yeah. What did it inspire you to make a change in the way, like reprogramming your thinking, kind of?
I think so. I mean, I guess we can always start with all these negative thoughts to get it out of you. And actually writing it down is a great way so that, it's almost like vomiting it out, right?
Yes. we can have Hell Week for ourselves.
Do that privately.
But then, I'd like to know what the next steps are after that,
For sure, especially now that we're talking about end of year, that we have a new beginning, how do you get rid of the bad stuff and, so you can move on. I think that's a great idea.
It is, especially since, year is 2025 coming up. That's a quarter of a century, you guys.
Wow.
We're a quarter of a century in.
Never thought of it that way.
For those of us who were born in the last century.
For sure. So next week, we're going to have another great guest, Sandy Duarte. So join us back here on Friday at 7 p.m. CST. You can watch all the episodes on watch.e360tv.com, and we are in the Vitality TV network. We also have a YouTube channel, Chronically Healthy Life, and you would like to know more about what we do and how we can help you build a chronically healthy life, visit our website at chronicallyhealthylife.com. And of course, any comments, questions, or suggestions about our show, you can comment on our Facebook page, Chronically Healthy Life, or just email us at anything@chronicallyhealthylife.com. We'll see you next week.
Ciao, everyone.